mentioned there about Nick, and you mentioned his passion that rubbed off on you. Sure. Without completely digressing about this work from home situation, but it's a real valid point, because how do you believe now impressionable graduates that want to learn and want to get on with you 10 years ago, how do they actually get that now when potentially they're working from home and they haven't got that Nick who's in the room and can actually get that passion? Because I'm seeing a lot of people now, we're all in this hybrid working environment, but how can you, if you're working from home and you're not getting that access to that person, how can you actually enhance your skills and actually get that passion for yourself?
I mean, I'm with you 100% on it. I think that the reality is culture is often built in the office. I think for those that are more tenured and maybe more of a remote working life balance and they can prove their merits straight away, well, absolutely that can be an option for them. We have a mixture at CoCycle of remote and on-premise kind of team. Those that come in either moving from the VAR channel or that have never had any experience in ITAD and perhaps it's their first career, for us, we're an office-first culture. We'll always appreciate the need for flexibility, and we're always going to sit there and say, well, if that needs to be done, you can work from home today. There's no problem there, but it's an office-first culture because I believe we've invested in so many great people at CoCycle. We have a fantastic management structure, right? For those people that are coming in, if you want to emulate that person, follow them, the best people to be around are the people already there. So culture doesn't create itself. Culture is created by the great people within an organisation or a business that you can learn from quickly, ask the question too quickly. Teams, Slack, all these collaboration tools, great, but it's a similar thing of going, who do you do your best business with as a salesperson, and when do you do your best business? And 99% of salespeople will say, I want to see them face to face. Well, it's exactly the same about learning and culture. It's when you're with people face to face.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on with your career. So sure. you went on with Insight, then you decided to leave. Where did you go?
Went to CAE Technologies. Absolutely fantastic business. Still very good friends with the owners and a lot of people at CAE. Absolutely brilliant opportunity for me and a couple other members that work with me.
Why did you choose them? Why CAE?
I think with Insight, there was somewhat of a glass ceiling there in terms of where you could go to. A large publicly listed organisation on the NASDAQ. I wanted to work with someone a bit smaller, more of a family ethos, a strong privately owned culture. CAE were also doing great things, making great strides on the acquisition journey. So I spent some time with Rich and Justin. I hope Rich is listening to this in terms of...
I've tried to get Richard on a few times. So after I say, I'm going to tag him and say, Richard, you have to come on now because I've had on in.
So it was a very memorable interview. I went to one of their fun days, and as I'm talking to Richard with the passion and what we could do for CAE and how we could work with them, this bee comes flying over, stings me in the eye mid-interview. My eye explodes. And Rich goes, maybe we should say this for another day. But I was continuing on with what we could do for CAE.
You were still in the pitch. Yeah, you were still in there.
The next week, he and I caught up again. And I think since that point, we've always gotten incredibly well. I look up to him as a huge inspiration in my career. And I've seen what he's done himself. Both him and Justin, actually, the culture they've created at CAE is second to none. And I think, for me, what I'm very proud of in my own career, I've left both Insight and CAE on great terms, and both of which now work with CoCycle. So I think that's hopefully a reflection of doing good for them and good will return to you. So
yeah, absolutely.
They're brilliant
Richard's a nice guy as well.
Yeah, fantastic chap.
Really nice guy. Now, you mentioned a term here that 99% of the channel won't have a clue what you're talking about, in my opinion, which is ITAD, which is IT Asset Disposal. That's right, isn't it?
Disposition.
Disposition. There you go. We don't know what it is at all. So educate the channel. What is ITAD?
So ITAD is everything that happens at the end of the life cycle with technology. If we think around how technology should be recycled in the right way, there's ultimately two key directives, right? So you've got GDPR on the one angle in terms of how the data is sanitized on that laptop, that PC, that server. So how the data's got rid of. The second part of it then is the WE directive, and the WE is waste, electrical and electrical equipment. And it's this idea of it can't end up in landfill. It must be proven and certified to be recycled in the right way. So ITAD, from a client perspective, is what they're doing at the end. It's not always for the top of their agenda because strategically they think about the next purchase, the next thing we're doing.
Normally smashing it up and just chucking it away. That's
absolutely. And then it ends up in landfill. Yeah. Environmental sustainability becomes part of this, and it's doing things the wrong way. Plus, from a client's ITAM strategy, so IT asset management strategy, how you link it back into that. So we've developed a world-class portal. We do a collection from a client. Everything's securely taken back to our facility. Nothing goes to landfill. 0% to landfill. Everything is recycled, either reused or broken down into component parts that can be put back into essentially the recycling stream, so reused on other manufacturing. And that's our commitment to our clients. From a data angle, there won't be a data breach there. On an environmental standpoint, when it comes to the equipment, nothing will end up in landfill.
And sustainability is a big subject at the moment. It comes up a lot in the channel chat lives. And it's a sort of a buzzword that people keep on talking to me about. How easy is it for you to convince end users or the VAR community that it's important? Because when I hear sustainability, I'm sort of thinking, yeah, it's doing the right thing. Yeah, is it on my agenda? Nah, it's not really on my agenda. But I hear now it's actually on CTOs, CXOs agendas all the time. So are you having to convince VARs that this is important, or is the demand coming from end users that they've got to do it?
I think it's come from end users, filtered to the VAR MSP channel. They then look for that outlet. If you look at framework agreements, you look at tenders now, RFPs, RFIs. There's always points being awarded for sustainability. It starts in the public sector, it's gone across to the private sector. So that can be your differentiation. Clients aren't just focused on what I need that's new. It's always a bit of how would you get rid of this ethically? And that's the point you can prove merit on. I think also, not to sound corny, but that we've got one world, right? We have to protect it wherever we can. And if there's a cost to making sure things are recycled in the right way, and that benefits the client in terms of they can prove it internally, and perhaps there's another outcome. So after every collection, we produce a sustainability report at CoSycle showing mineral consumption, water consumption, and the carbon offsetting that we've done after that collection. For their own client then, the outcome internally is often links in with their CSR policy. For a lot of our clients, we'll sit there and they might say, right, how much is that worth? What can we get for that? Or shouldn't you be really thinking after 3 years when you've written those assets off, what should go towards your charity of the year? How can this link in with your own CSR goals? So it's doing something good from redundant technology, rather than thinking about it as someone will collect the waste, will sell the assets that are worth something. It's thinking, but we don't want that fine in line with GDPR, so 2% of revenue or 10 million euros, whatever's higher. That's what we should be, the risk mitigation piece. And then the idea of how can we link that into something good for our clients is really what we've pushed from day one. I think, for our clients, they may have started in one place, but I believe now they're moving to another place. And if the channel aren't putting this on the table, I've spoken to a lot of our partners. How much does it cost them at the bottom of their quote to ask, what are you doing with the old, every time they send out something new? And the reality is it costs them nothing. But the amount of opportunity they could get from that in the world of ITAD is huge.
And how is technology helping businesses become more sustainable? Is there any unique examples you've got? Because like I said, sustainability in my brain is only come on the radar the last 18 months, 2 years.
Yeah, so I suppose from you've got things like water cooling of data centers and the big kind of brands pushing innovation in the space. When it comes down to ITAD and IT recycling as a whole, it's making sure that for the businesses, they have the consideration to look at, should we look at remanufactured or repurposed before buying that thing new? Likewise, and the vendors won't appreciate me saying it, but longer life cycles, right? This idea of a 3-year life cycle for technology, it should be user profile based. Yes, someone might want something after 3 years because it helps them innovate in their role and drive the business forward. But mass refreshes when the users are quite happy with that technology serves the environment poorly. But likewise, it doesn't give the business any benefit. So I think technology, I'm not sure if you know this yourself, Mark, e-waste is the world's #1 growing waste stream. The #1 growing waste stream. In terms of where it is currently, it's looking to double over the next 12 years. So this is having a huge impact, and this is a report by the United Nations, right? You can cite me on it. It's having a huge impact globally. So if we just keep going to this idea of produce more, consume more, use more, throw it away, it's no good. And even, I'm guilty of myself. When I looked the other day, and it was one of my other directors asked me, how many pieces of e-waste do you have at home? I had about 20. It's in cupboards. Old consoles, old phones, old tablets, old laptops. Now in there, you've got raw materials. You've got gold, titanium, palladium. That can be reused back into remanufacturing. So should we keep digging more? Should we keep creating more problems for the world? Or should we be looking at a reuse kind of way first? And I think for me, that's what we'll always try and advocate with clients. If they can reuse it, reuse it.
Ollie, I'm convinced. That was
good.
That was really good. You're particularly passionate about it, which I love. I really think it's great. How did you become passionate about this? Because let's go backtrack a bit. You were at CA, you were doing a job, you love the culture, you're doing really well. Why did you suddenly think, CoSycle, this is an idea, and I want to particularly get into sustainability?
It was one of my clients. I was out with them on Friday, and they said, I want to get rid of these 25 MacBooks, right? And we went to the market at the time, and everyone was trying to charge for that service.
Right.
I thought it was baffling. I could see the value in the MacBooks. I wanted to understand more around the process. it also became very apparent there was no outlet for clients to be able to do this in the right way. You had your white van man who was, I'll collect it, mate, here's a few quid in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Dodgy, right? You had the other side of it, which were large publicly listed organisations who weren't willing to leave their facility unless there's 20 grand in it for them. So for a lot of businesses, they had this big problem of they want to do the right thing, but it wasn't apparent to them. So it was that perfect, and 4.5 years ago, we found it's not where it is now. Very fortunate to have found it at the right time, and the industry's gone like that, right? It's skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Partly because the culture, the environment's changed, and people are looking at this more proactively.
It's on people's agenda.
Yeah. 4.5 years ago, it wasn't on a framework. It wasn't mentioned. It was more of a case of, could we make some money from the redundant tech, and what could we do?
Or do we know now with the white van?
Yeah. That's it, right? But we started off, so we have a whole ESG agenda. I'm sure we'll touch on that later, right? But we started off initially going, we'll take your technology for free of charge, we'll process it through our facility, we'll give you some certification, and we'll plant you trees to offset the carbon related to that technology. That was the starting point of the business model. It's matured massively since then in terms of portals, ESG, what we're doing is a more holistic approach. But at the time, it was just clients were happy to give you the tech, but they wanted to recycle it in the right way for it to be certified and for something good to come from it. So that was kind of the starting point, and then it's kind of snowballed from there to where we are today with 23 employees, just about to sign a lease for 13,000 square foot premises. We get the keys next week. Another premises in Camberley, looking at international expansion, triple digit growth this year. Looking to hire another 10 people, hopefully for you guys by the end of the summer, early autumn. We're on this journey now whereby the issues are very apparent to everyone we're working with. I think the channel took a little time to switch on to it, but now the channel are fully behind it, and they want to go to their clients with that proposition. Yes, we sell new, but also we can ethically dispose of the old. And it's a very compelling message. And it's 360, right? It's full IT lifecycle management. It's not just going, we sell new. Oh, Mr. Customer, what do you do with the old? Oh, I don't know. There's a solution for this.
So, Ollie, I can see your passion for it. I can see how you saw the opportunity for it. Now, 99% of people would stop there and just think, but I'm not going to start a business with it. What made you actually start and think, do you know what, this is a business and I'm going to start it? Because most people will have an idea and then maybe as passionate as you, maybe not as articulate as you, that how you pitched it, because it was convincing. I was convinced, thinking, actually, maybe I did like sustainability now.
I was a salesman.
But I was thinking, but most people would stop there and wouldn't go through. So what made you follow through and thought, actually, I've got something here, I've seen my client, I've got an idea, I've seen an opportunity, I'm going to execute and get a company? Because there must have been reservations. There must have been.
Absolutely. And you could stay doing a thing that's easy. I suppose I'm relatively young. I wanted to challenge myself. I always got a huge amount of gratification from seeing team members do well and for us all winning together. Right? I think that's a big thing in the channel anyway. It's about sharing success, winning together, building that culture. And again, I was privileged to learn from great leaders about how you build good cultures. So I thought that they were almost the foundations for creating a good company. And along the way, I've hired some fantastic people. They're helping me build the culture, build the company. I think from the starting point is that I found the idea it can be tangible, and then sitting there going, by utilising the right people and helping the business grow, we'll have something that can really add a lot of value here, and along the way, a lot of people do very well from it. So I think that's kind of where it started from. It was back yourself, I mentioned this a few times at lunch, back yourself, otherwise you'll regret that further on, right? You can always go back into other careers if things don't work, and I was conscious of that. There's always that risk aspect. But yeah, for me it was, I backed myself and I backed the business to be successful, and I was willing to give everything to it, right? You're a business owner yourself, business leader yourself. It's very rewarding when the company's doing well. It's very rewarding when you see the impact of that business on other organisations. I think that you don't get that same level of gratification from working in a business personally.
No, absolutely.